There are moments in life when a person feels completely exhausted. The heart becomes heavy from waiting, the mind becomes tired from overthinking, and the soul quietly wonders whether things will ever change. In those moments, many people stop believing that anything good can happen anymore. They look at their problems and see no solution. They look at their future and see only darkness. But what believers often forget is that one sincere dua has the power to change an entire destiny. A single moment of turning back to Allah with honesty can become the beginning of a completely different life. What seems impossible to human beings is never impossible for Allah. He created the heavens and the earth with only a command. He can remove pain in a second, open doors nobody expected, heal hearts that feel destroyed, and create ease from places people never imagined. The beauty of dua is that it is not limited by time, place, or circumstances. Human beings need appointments to speak with important people. They need status, money, or connections to be heard. But with Allah, every servant already has direct access. No gatekeeper stands between the believer and their Lord. Whether someone speaks in the middle of the night during sujood, while crying alone, or even silently inside the heart, Allah hears every word. Sometimes people think their du'as are too small for Allah, while others think their sins are too big for forgiveness. But Allah's mercy is greater than every sin and every fear. The Quran repeatedly reminds humanity not to despair of the mercy of Allah, because despair itself is a trick of Shaitan. Shaitan wants believers to think their situation will never improve, so they stop asking Allah. But the believer continues making dua, because hope in Allah is worship itself. Many people only remember Allah when life becomes difficult. While ease can sometimes make hearts distracted, hardship often brings people back to sincerity. There is something powerful about a broken heart standing before Allah. When every worldly support disappears, the soul realizes that only Allah truly controls everything. Some of the strongest du'as are made in moments of weakness. A person may raise their hands after years of neglecting prayer and cry with complete honesty for the first time. Those tears are precious in the sight of Allah. The Prophet taught that Allah is shy to return empty the hands of a servant raised in dua. This shows the generosity of Allah toward His creation. Even when people fail repeatedly, Allah still leaves the door of mercy open. Sometimes the answer to a dua does not come immediately, and this becomes difficult for many people. Human beings are impatient by nature. They want quick solutions and immediate relief. But Allah sees what people cannot see. He knows the future while humans only know the present moment. A person may beg for something that would actually harm them, while they may hate a delay that is secretly protecting them. This is why trust in Allah is essential. Every delay has wisdom, even if the servant cannot understand it yet. There are people who made dua for years before seeing the answer, but when the answer finally came, they realized Allah chose the perfect timing. If it had come earlier, they may not have been ready for it. The stories of the prophets teach this lesson beautifully. Prophet Ayub suffered for years with illness and hardship, yet he never lost hope in Allah. Prophet Yaqub cried for his son Yusuf until his eyesight weakened, but he still trusted Allah's plan. Prophet Yunus called upon Allah from the darkness inside the whale, and Allah rescued him from a situation that looked impossible. These stories are not only history lessons, they are reminders that no matter how trapped a person feels, Allah can still create a way out. Sometimes believers think their situation is unique and beyond repair, but Allah has already shown throughout history that His power has no limits. One sincere dua can also change the condition of the heart itself. Often people focus only on external problems such as money, relationships, health, or success. But the greatest peace comes when the heart becomes connected to Allah. There are wealthy people who still feel empty inside, and there are struggling people who sleep peacefully because they trust Allah completely. Dua strengthens that connection. Every time a servant calls upon Allah, faith grows stronger. Even before the answer arrives, the heart begins to feel calmer because it knows it is relying on the one who controls everything. There is also a hidden blessing in repeatedly making dua. It keeps a person close to Allah. Sometimes Allah delays giving exactly what a servant asks because He loves hearing that servant continue to call upon Him. Every night the believer raises their hands. Every tear that falls, every whispered prayer becomes an act of worship. Nothing is wasted with Allah. Even if the exact request is delayed, Allah may remove a calamity, forgive sins, increase rewards, or replace the request with something better. The believer benefits in every situation. Many people can look back at their lives and remember moments where one dua changed everything. A person may have been lost in sin before Allah guided them unexpectedly. Someone may have been drowning in debt before sudden relief arrived. Another person may have thought marriage, children, health, or happiness would never come. Yet Allah opened those doors at the right time. These moments remind believers that Allah's mercy can appear suddenly. Sometimes life changes in one night. This is why Muslims are taught never to lose hope, even when circumstances seem impossible. The first keynote reminds believers that sincerity matters more than beautiful words. Allah does not need long speeches or perfect language. He looks at the heart. A simple dua made with complete honesty can be more beloved to Allah than long empty words spoken without feeling. A servant can speak to Allah in their own language, sharing fears, regrets, hopes, and pain openly because Allah already knows what is hidden inside the chest. When someone reaches the point where they stop pretending and speak to Allah sincerely, that moment can become life-changing. The second keynote teaches that a final sincere prayer should never be underestimated. Sometimes people make many careless duas throughout life. But there comes one moment where the heart completely breaks before Allah. That one moment can transform everything. Allah can forgive years of sins through sincere repentance. He can replace darkness with guidance instantly. Companions of the Prophet included people who once fought against Islam, yet Allah transformed their hearts completely. This shows that no person is beyond mercy and no life is beyond change. There are also moments during the night that carry special blessings for dua. The last third of the night is a time when Allah's mercy descends in a way that suits His Majesty, asking who is calling upon Him, who seeks forgiveness, and who asks from Him. While most people are sleeping, the believer stands quietly before Allah. These moments create a deep connection between the servant and their Creator. Many people have experienced incredible peace and unexpected answers after consistently praying tahajjud and making sincere dua during the night. Another important lesson is that believers should never let sin stop them from making dua. Shaitan often whispers that a person is too sinful to ask Allah for help. But this is completely wrong. If sinners could not turn to Allah, nobody would have hope. Allah loves repentance. He loves when servants return to Him after mistakes. The doors of mercy remain open until death. Even if someone has spent years far from Allah, one sincere return can erase a lifetime of sins. This is part of Allah's endless mercy. This understanding gives believers peace because they know their future is controlled by the most merciful, not by people. There is great comfort in knowing that Allah listens to every dua. Even when people ignore someone's pain, Allah never ignores it. A person may cry alone at night, believing nobody understands what they feel. But Allah knows every hidden fear and every silent heartbreak. Sometimes believers think they need perfect words to make dua. But Allah looks at sincerity rather than eloquence. A simple cry from the heart can carry more power than long speeches spoken without emotion. The Prophet taught that Allah responds to every dua in one of three ways. Either Allah grants exactly what was requested, delays it for a better time, or protects the person from harm through that dua. This means no sincere prayer is ever wasted. Even when believers do not see immediate results, Allah is still responding in ways they may not yet understand. Sometimes the very act of making dua changes the servant before it changes the situation. Patience grows stronger. Faith becomes deeper. Dependence upon Allah increases. One of the most powerful examples of closed doors opening through dua is found in the story of Prophet Zakaria. He was elderly, and his wife was unable to have children for many years. By worldly standards, having a child seemed impossible. Yet Prophet Zakaria still turned to Allah sincerely, and Allah blessed him with Prophet Yahya. This story teaches believers that no matter how impossible something appears, Allah remains capable of everything. Another important lesson is that believers should continue making dua even after long delays. Shaitan wants people to become tired and stop asking Allah. He whispers thoughts like, your dua will never be accepted or nothing will change. But persistence in dua is itself an act of faith. Continuing to ask Allah despite delays shows trust in His mercy and wisdom. The believer understands that Allah hears every prayer. even when the answer has not appeared yet. There are also special moments when du'as carry greater blessing, such as during sujood, while fasting, during rainfall, between the adhan and ikama, and especially in the last third of the night. Tahajjud is one of the most powerful times for seeking Allah's help, because the world becomes quiet and distractions disappear. Standing before Allah while others sleep creates a deep spiritual connection. Many believers have witnessed incredible changes in their lives after consistently turning to Allah during these blessed moments. Closed doors are not always punishments. Sometimes Allah closes certain paths to protect His servants. A person may desperately want something that would eventually harm them, spiritually or emotionally. Because Allah sees the unseen future, He may block one opportunity only to guide the servant towards something better later. At first, the believer may feel hurt or confused, but eventually they realize Allah's wisdom was greater than their own understanding. Dua also reminds believers that they are never powerless. Even when they cannot control circumstances, they can always turn to Allah. This creates hope during the darkest times. A person may not be able to change people's hearts, remove every hardship instantly, or solve every problem alone. But Allah can do all things. The believer's responsibility is to keep trusting, keep praying, and keep moving forward with patience. Some people experience their greatest blessings only after reaching complete dependence upon Allah. When worldly support disappears, the heart finally learns sincerity. In those moments, dua becomes more than words. It becomes total reliance upon the Creator. That sincerity has incredible power. Allah loves when His servants turn to Him with humility, hope, and trust. Life constantly changing. Situations that seem permanent today may disappear tomorrow. Pain that feels endless can suddenly be replaced with relief. Doors that looked impossible to open can swing wide open through Allah's mercy. This is why believers continue making dua no matter how difficult life becomes. They understand that Allah's power is unlimited, His mercy is endless, and His timing is always perfect. There are moments in life when everything changes without warning. A person may spend years carrying pain, confusion, and uncertainty, then suddenly experience relief from a place they never expected. Sometimes Allah changes a person's situation so quickly that they are left speechless. One day they are surrounded by darkness, and the next day they begin to see light again. This is why the fifth keynote, "Other night everything changed through dua," carries such a deep meaning. Many believers have witnessed nights where sincere prayer completely transformed their hearts, their lives, and their relationship with Allah. The night has always held a special spiritual power in Islam. During the quietness of the night, distractions fade away, the world slows down, and the heart becomes more honest. Throughout the day, people are often busy with responsibilities, conversations, work, and endless thoughts. But at night, especially during moments of solitude, the soul begins to confront its true condition. This is why many people find themselves making their most sincere du'as late at night. Tears fall more easily, hearts soften, and pride disappears. A person standing before Allah in darkness realizes how weak human beings truly are and how powerful Allah is. Tahajjud prayer is one of the greatest gifts given to believers. Waking up while others sleep and turning toward Allah creates a connection unlike anything else. In the last third of the night, Allah's mercy descends in a manner that suits His majesty, and He calls upon His servants, asking who is seeking forgiveness, who is making dua, and who is asking from Him. This moment is filled with mercy and hope. Many people have experienced life-changing moments during Tahajjud because they spoke to Allah with complete honesty for the first time. Sometimes, the night that changes everything is not dramatic in appearance. There may be no visible miracle happening immediately. Instead, Allah changes the heart first. A person who felt hopeless suddenly feels peace again. Someone drowning in anxiety suddenly feels calm while making dua. Another person who spent years distant from Allah suddenly feels guided back toward prayer and worship. These inner transformations are among the greatest blessings because once the heart changes, the rest of life begins changing as well. There are people who can remember one specific night when they cried to Allah with complete sincerity. Maybe they had reached the end of their patience. Maybe they were tired of pretending to be strong. Maybe they had exhausted every worldly solution and realized only Allah could help them. That night became the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Allah answered them in ways they never imagined. Some received immediate relief, while others were given strength to survive difficult tests. Either way, their connection with Allah became stronger than before. The power of sincere dua during the night comes from complete dependence upon Allah. During those moments, there is no showing off, no desire for people's praise, and no distractions from the world. It is simply the servant and their creator. This sincerity is beloved to Allah. The Prophet taught that among the 7 people shaded by Allah on the Day of Judgment is the one who remembers Allah in private and sheds tears. These tears are valuable because they come from genuine faith and humility. Many believers mistakenly think their problems are too complicated to be solved. They look at broken relationships, financial struggles, illnesses, depression, fears, or regrets and feel trapped. But Allah specializes in changing impossible situations. These stories remind Muslims throughout every generation that success and relief do not come solely from material strength. True power belongs to Allah alone. When nobody can help, Allah still listens to every whisper. A person may sit alone at night, unable to explain their pain to anyone else. Yet Allah already understands it completely. He knows the fears hidden inside the chest, the tears that never fall publicly, and the thoughts a person cannot even put into words. This closeness of Allah brings incredible comfort to believers. The Quran says that Allah is closer to a person than their jugular vein. This means no servant is ever truly alone. One of the greatest traps Shaitan uses during hardship is convincing people that Allah has abandoned them. When prayer seems delayed and pain continues, some begin questioning whether Allah still cares about them. But hardship is not proof of abandonment. In fact, Allah often tests those He loves most. The prophets themselves faced immense suffering. What matters is how the believer responds during those tests. Turning back to Allah during hardship raises a person's rank and strengthens faith. Believers should also remember that Allah's help does not always arrive in the form they expect. Sometimes He removes the problem entirely. Other times He gives strength, patience, and inner peace to survive. There are people whose external circumstances remain difficult, yet their hearts become calm because they trust Allah completely. This peace itself is a form of divine help. Dua becomes especially powerful when people realize they have nowhere else to turn. In those moments, distractions disappear and sincerity increases. A servant stops relying upon status, money, or people and depends fully upon Allah. This kind of sincerity carries immense value. Allah loves humble hearts that recognize their need for Him. There is also beauty in knowing that Allah never becomes tired of hearing His servants ask. Human beings sometimes grow impatient with repeated requests, but Allah loves when believers continue turning toward Him. Every dua strengthens the relationship between the servant and their Creator. Even before circumstances change, the act of calling upon Allah softens the heart and increases faith. Life constantly reminds people of their weakness. Plans fail, situations change, and certainty disappears. But through every hardship, one truth remains unshaken. Allah is always Arabic Gulf, Arabic Dalla, Arabic Rat over everything. When people cannot help, Allah still can. When doors close, Allah can open new ones. When hearts break, Allah can heal them. When hope fades, Allah can restore it again. This certainty gives believers the strength to continue moving forward no matter how dark life becomes.